What is going on out there, everybody? Episode number 8 of the All Around Sports Podcast with your host, Jim McAllister. Oh, what a wonderful couple of days it has been for the beloved New York Mets. You know, it's pretty sweet when your team wins big games, but for some reason, when you're playing a team that you know, I guess is more your rival, and listen, let's be honest, the Mets-Yankees thing is a big thing, especially for fans, and me too. And, I talked about that a lot on the last podcast, but it was pretty sweet. It was pretty sweet for a number of reasons. One, Francisco Lindor is playing like an MVP candidate now. I mean, he's been for a while, but, it's kind of solidified at this point, Another 2 home runs. They're beating up Garrett Cole. They put a whooping on them last night. I know they scored a bunch of runs late, but still. I don't think the Yankees were ever in that game. And listen, I can easily come out here and start gloating about, hey, the Mets won, blah, blah, blah. But in the grand scheme of things, it's a win, and I'm happy. But they still got a way to go. Honestly, they have a really tough stretch in front of them. They have a pretty daunting road trip coming up where they have to go to, I believe it's, let me think about this for a second. I think it's Anaheim. Then they go to Colorado, and then they have to go to St. Louis in between, and then go to Seattle. It's a mess. It's a mess. So you got that, and then mixed in with some big games, between, I know they got Minnesota coming up, which is, they're a good team, and they have a bunch of, hard games ahead of them. And I'm going to be honest, I'm hoping and praying that, they make a move at the deadline. Nick Rosselli is on, like he always is. And we talk about something, I'm going to tease it right now. It's pretty interesting and something he kind of brought to me, just kind of out of the blue. And the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, you know what? If this really came to fruition, this would be really good. So tune in for Nick's spot in the next segment, and we'll talk to him about. We're going to start our previews today of the NFL season. We're going to talk about the AFC East today, so you'll be in tune for that. And really, the big topic I want to talk about right now. And listen, I know I always start off with the Mets, but leave the Mets aside. We already kind of discussed how I feel about that, but I want to talk about Aaron Judge, guys. Listen, it's easy for me to just kind of come on this platform and just start talking about how much, my thoughts and opinions are on Aaron Judge. And I'm going to be honest with you. It showed you in these last 2 games why I feel the way I feel about Aaron Judge. You can have all the home runs. You can have all the RBIs. You can do all these wonderful things. And granted, he is a great person, let alone a baseball player. But I'm telling you right now, you can have him. Keep him. Let him go play center field for you because I don't want him. I don't want him on my team anywhere near it. Because for whatever reason, I don't know if it's just him or it's something that maybe some sort of like mental with him. Anytime this man comes up with runners on in a big spot late in the game, he does not produce. And honestly, I'd rather have a guy that is going to give me a quality at bat. May not come through all the time, but I know more often than not, he's going to give me a quality at bat and get a hit in a big spot. I think right now for the Mets, the big guy right there for that, I would say, is JD Martinez, even though I know he's been struggling. Lindor obviously is an easy choice, but I'm still not sold on. I'm worried. I know he's been playing great. I know he's been outstanding. And listen, he's been an MVP candidate. That's how good he's been. But what worries me about Lindor is that I don't want him to revert back to the old Lindor where he's not taking pitches and he's not doing things that's going to help the team. That's my biggest worry about Lindor. But listen, he's been playing out of his mind. So right now in a big spot, yeah, if Lindor was up, I wouldn't be as worried. But you never know with him. But I'm going to say this about Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge has no clutch gene. Aaron Judge has never had a clutch gene. You go back to all his postseason failures. Anytime this man comes up in a big spot, he fails. And I'm not trying to come up here and just start ripping dudes. Like, that's not what this podcast is about. It's really not. But I am going to give you an honest opinion about how I feel, especially when I see it in real time. If I'm a Yankee fan, I'm scared to death because I'm locked into this dude for the next 7 years. And then you got a guy in Soto who is twice the player as Aaron Judge, and you guys can see it now every day. He's going to walk. I don't think he's staying. And I'm not just sitting there saying, oh, he's going to come to the Mets. No. He ain't going. I don't even know if he's going to come to my team or not. My team's got a lot of issues. Like, they need to, figure out some things too, and they'll do that in real time. That's fine. But he's going to go to the highest bidder. And it's not going to be the Yankees. I'm sorry, it's not. They are not going to give Juan Soto what he's looking for. And now what are you left with? An aging Giancarlo Stanton. You have Rizzo for another year, who looks like he's kind of on the downside. DJ LeMahieu, who, let's be real, guys, he's shot. He's done. I mean, he just doesn't look like the same player he was even a year ago. You got some young guys in Dominguez. I mean, he, in his little flash, last year showed that, he is as advertised. So I know he's going to come back at some point and start, hopefully producing for that team. And listen, I'm not sitting here trying to say, I'm not trying to bash the Yankees. I'm really not. Like, honestly, I hope they do well. I hope that, for Yankee fans, I have, very, very good friends of mine that are Yankee fans. And, for them, I hope they do well. But I'm just keeping it real, guys. Like, Aaron Judge ain't it. I don't think he's ever been it. And I think because of his size, his stature, the way he is, Yankee fans are like clamoring for like the next Derek Jeter. I said this when I talked to Mark Malusis. I'm going to say this again right now to a microphone. He is Derek Jeter off the field. He is A-Rod on the field. If you guys remember, Alex Rodriguez had all the talent in the world. Steroids or not, let's kind of take the steroids out of the equation here, okay? Let's just call it for what it is, the baseball player. He was an outstanding baseball player and should be in the Hall of Fame, but that's a whole nother podcast. We're not going there. Alex Rodriguez would consistently come up small in big spots. Consistently. And the argument for A-Rod was the regular season, he was outstanding. He was winning MVPs, doing all this stuff. And then come postseason, he was a ghost. You didn't see him. You didn't know where he was. And I hate to say this, but again, I'm going to say it one more time. Aaron Judge, he ain't it. He's just not it. And again, I'm not saying this for like clicks. I'm not saying this for, views or any of that stuff. Like, no. I'm just giving you my opinion of how I feel about, the baseball player Aaron Judge. I wouldn't want him on my team. I wouldn't want somebody who's going to be so great in the regular season, and then when I need him the most and we're paying you the most money to be that guy, you're not that guy. And that is a major, major, major concern. All right, I'm going to get off my soapbox about Aaron Judge. Let's talk about some fun stuff, shall we? We got the football season right around the corner. We got the NFL. Training camps are open. You're starting to hear reports. We had Hard Knocks. I don't really talk about the Hard Knocks stuff too much on the show, but, I have kept up with it. I do like the realism of the Hard Knocks episodes. I like the fact that Joe Schoen ain't afraid to be himself. I really like that a lot, to be honest with you. I'm happy with the fact that he's not afraid to kind of just tell it like it is, and more or less kind of say, all right, Saquon Barkley, we didn't want you and we're better without you. All right, Daniel Jones, you're going to have to prove it again because last year obviously was an abomination. Really not your fault, but we are going to go out of our way to try and upgrade the position. And if we don't, you're our guy. And for Daniel Jones, I think that's going to be a challenge for him because his upside we saw 2 years ago. Let's be real about something. The playoff game against Minnesota, he was the best player on the field. He really was. So you got to give him credit for that because, again, it kind of ties into the Aaron Judge thing. When you are needed the most, are you going to produce? That's what made Eli Manning so great. Not to kind of go off on a tangent, but you know what? Why not? Eli Manning was so great because the bigger the game, the better he played. Yes, he'll have the 5-interception game against Minnesota in the regular season. Yes, he'll lead the league in interceptions. Yes, all the the nonsense, the faces, and all the the nonsense that went on with Eli Manning during his tenure here, right? We can name all the failures, but why Giant fans love Eli Manning is because of 07, 2011. That's why they love him. They saw him get his teeth kicked in San Francisco, stood there and just like nothing. He was the best player on the field that day. 2011 Super Bowl, he's the best player on the field that day. In the big games, he was at his best. That's all you can ask for a player. So you know what? Yeah, you're going to give him the contracts. Yeah, you're going to give him the most money and everything. But you know what? He was as advertised when it mattered. He really was. And it's a shame that they really, at the end, tried to chase, really another one with him where they just kind of really did him wrong. They did, they never got back to where it was. But hey, you know what? We had two amazing runs. You'll never forget the day where you were 2008, but 2007 season watching that game. I'm still to this day unbelievable. How they won that game. Incredible. But yeah, man, it's football season. It's really starting to get around the corner. And you know what? It's going to get a lot of fun here. So Nick and I are going to talk AFC East. You'll hear our thoughts and opinions about that. We'll kind of mix in some fantasy as well. But you know what we got to do now? We got to talk about our sponsors, baby. Jump Shot Gym, a one-of-a-kind basketball training facility located in beautiful Hillsborough, New Jersey. We have 8 hoops and the Dr. Dish shooting machines. Those things are awesome. Check out their Instagram page. You'll see those Dr. Dish shooting machines in action. Okay? Get the reps you need to build a consistent jump shot. Visit jumpshotgym.com. One more time, jumpshotgym.com for information on shooting clinics, camps, and parties. Brazina Home Improvements. You're looking for any home or repair need for your home or your business, contact Brazina Home Improvements for a free estimate at 609-581-5848. One more time, 609-581-5848. And you want to sponsor Nick's part of the program, you want to sponsor anything we do here, you want to be an advertiser, anything you want to do, contact me at jm14productions@gmail.com. Once again, jm14productions, one word, @gmail.com. Or you can follow me on Instagram at jm14 all around pod. On the other side, my man. Let's talk some football, baby. And some other things as well. Nick Rosselli stopping by. All right, guys, we are back here on the All Around, and it is that time once again. My man, you see him. You know who he is. He doesn't need an introduction, but he's going to get one anyway. You're going to hear his takes on all things Philadelphia. My man, my co-host, Robin, Nick Rosselli. Nick, what's up, my man? How are you today?
What's up? I'm good.
All right. You said something to me offline that I want to bring up on the podcast right now, which I thought was really interesting. Okay. So we, as everybody knows, we obviously are in constant contact. We're talking about it, right? So you sent me something that the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. So go ahead. The floor is yours.
So it was the Reds and Mets to trade that sends Jonathan India and one of the Reds relievers, like Alexis Diaz, Edwin Diaz's brother, to the Mets for one of their better prospects.
Dude, the more I'm thinking about this, the more I am in on that. And I'm going to tell you why. All right. Because I thought about this for a while. Like after you sent it to me, I'm like, oh, where's he going to play India? And the more I'm thinking about what's going on, this makes complete sense. This is like a no-brainer at this point. Like I'm ready to move on from Jet Williams. Like if you want Christian Scott, you can have him too. I get he's got elbow issues, and that's okay. But I'm ready. There's 2 guys I wouldn't trade: Drew Gilbert and Acuna. Those 2 guys are completely, in my opinion, off the table. But if you want to move a pitcher, you want to move Jet Williams, I'm good. Because you know what? I love the idea of having Jonathan India, okay? Because that solidifies second base. And to your point, Nick, he's 2 years still under control. So it's not like you're not, you're still kind of gaining some years out of him. Okay. And if the Reds are really thinking about moving on from him, sign me up. Okay. I'll be okay with Lindor in India for the next couple of years. That's fine with me. Because then, as hot as Jack McNeil has been, okay, and that's great that he's been on a tear league. I think if he's going to be with the team, I think it's going to be in right field. I really do. I think the more I'm thinking about it, the more that makes sense. When Marte does come back, because he's so injury prone, you got to platoon him. You got to platoon Marte and you got to platoon McNeil. Let them be the right left combination in right field. That brings me to third base. Okay. I love what Iglesias has done. I really do. And I really think it's galvanized the team. I really truly believe that he's been a linchpin of why this team has gotten where they've gotten. Okay. I don't know if he can play every day. Now, if that thing doesn't fall through and it's not really happening, then he's going to. And then you're going to have to kind of live with the results. But say the India trade happens, say they get Alexis Diaz, which will give Edwin Diaz, his brother, who's going to just give him more confidence. You then have a defensive caddy for Vientos late in games, which they've been doing anyway. Okay. They've been taking Vientos out late in the game, moving Iglesias to third, letting McNeil play second base. McNeil is not he's an okay second baseman, but he's not like an above average or defensive wizard over there. Okay. India is a much better second baseman than McNeil is. McNeil doesn't kill you in the outfield. Okay. And again, if we're gonna if the formula is gonna be late in games, especially close, Iglesias at third, take your pick for this conversation. We'll say Jonathan India, okay? Second base. You have Tyrone Taylor in right field. Nimmo doesn't kill you in left field. I know his arm's not great. And Bader's been all world. I had a conversation with a friend of mine the other day about Harrison Bader. He is the best center fielder the Mets have ever had defensively. And you know what? Like I'm really at that point with him now. I loved Juan Lagares. I thought Lagares was the best one I've seen defensively. I think Bader's better. I really do.
Yeah, I think the Mets defense is actually pretty good, what I've seen at least. Um, I think India just fits perfect with that team. It moves McNeil to outfield, which he's been playing. I've seen the lineups. I think is he playing right field today?
I think so. I think the lineup today is a little tricky because of the fact that they're facing Chris Sale, which
Mm,
obviously he's the leading candidate right now. It's a great pitching matchup tonight for the Mets Braves game. By the way, Severino and Sale is fantastic.
really?
But yeah, and they took Nimmo out of the lineup tonight. They have Iglesias hitting second, and I believe McNeil is in right field tonight. I remember seeing the lineup. So, but yeah, to your point, yes, McNeil has been playing a lot in the outfield, and that's okay. I think that this actually could put them in a position where they might be able to make a real run. Not like one of these like kind of runs that everybody's kind of talking about. Wait and see what's going to happen. Like if they do this, this might vault them past a couple of teams, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean I like the trade a lot for them. India,
Me
I
too.
feel like if you get any infielder, India's gonna be right up there with the top guy that's probably available for the infield. Maybe, I mean, the Yankees, the Mariners might also go after him, so the price might be depending on what other teams offer. But you get India, you get a reliever in the deal. I think that trade just solidifies that team a lot more, and
I couldn't agree
that's
more,
definitely a
man.
boost.
I couldn't agree more with you. I think you are so spot on with this. I really do. And like I said to you before, initial reaction is like, where's he going to play? As I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it, I'm going, this is perfect. This is absolutely perfect. Like, this is the move they need to make because, again, you're not mortgaging the future. Okay. That's a big thing right now. They're not mortgaging the future. And you're able to win now, which I think is unbelievable. I really do. I think it's the right move. I really, really, really do. Look at you. Look at you making Mets takes over here. You ever think in your life you'd ever be doing this? No shot.
Ever. I just saw, oh, maybe. I saw he's
Woo!
available, maybe, and it actually made sense.
Makes complete sense, dude. And listen, to kind of bring it back to you, this all kind of goes part and parcel because the Mets are catching the Phillies. Like that's the team they got to go catch. And I know you had mentioned to me Lane Thomas. What's your feeling about that?
Yeah, so I think if the Phillies made a deal for Lane Thomas, I think they would also put in Kyle Finnegan, one of the Nationals' best relievers. I
He's
think
good.
that trade really makes sense, and I've seen all around the ideas, and it does make sense. Thomas, he smashes lefties. He would be a perfect platoon with Marsh, and he can even play, over Rojas. And then Finnegan gives you another late relief ending guy, and he's been really good. His ERA is like 3, and he was an all-star this year, so I think it makes sense to me. Uh, there's other deals that make sense that you could put in, but I feel like that deal you might not have to give up your top prospects for a deal like that.
That's the goal right now. I mean, you don't want to kind of mortgage, but then again, too, the Phillies are in a weird position, right? They have position players that are locked in long term for, the next 7, 8, 9 years, right? So there's probably certain positions, let's say shortstop, first base, okay? Those are really positions where I don't think they're obviously going to make any moves anytime soon. Catcher's another one. But maybe second base, maybe the outfield. Again, are there prospects in the pipeline with the Phillies that you can turn around and say, like, okay, that guy's untouchable? I don't really know. I'm going to be honest.
I would say there's 2 that I really like, and a lot of people agree. It's Andrew Painter, who
Okay.
is coming off Tommy John surgery. He's
Does
going to
he
be
play
available
for the
next year.
Blue Claws, Nick? Does he play for the Blue Claws?
I I'm pretty sure he did.
Get out.
Yes.
Are you kidding me? All right. So I'm gonna tell you why I brought this up. Okay. Where I grew up in Lakewood, okay, that was a very, very big thing when that happened. Okay, getting minor league baseball. And it just so happens that, it's the Phillies, which, stinks for me. But when I was a kid, I was able to see the Ryan Howards. I was able to see the Cole Hamels, okay? Victor Ruiz. Remember Gavin Floyd? Remember that name? He was their big number one first round pick. I think he ended up pitching for the White Sox.
Mm,
I was at a game, and this is probably in my early 20s, okay? I was at a game, Gavin Floyd threw a no hitter and lost.
really?
Yeah, he threw a no hitter and lost the game 1-0. Yeah, I'll never forget it as long as I live. And do yourselves a favor, by the way, out there. If you're ever down that way, go watch a game there. It's fun. I mean, we've all been to Trenton Thunder games around here, and it's pretty much the same kind of vibe, but it's a lot of fun, man. Minor league baseball is cool. I'm just being honest. Minor league baseball is very cool. All right, so I'm sorry. I went off on a rant. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it's him and another guy is not Andrew, Aiden Miller. He's a
Okay.
third baseman, but he's been like left field. He plays shortstop. He's another guy. He's really rising. He was their first round pick last year. He's pretty good. I think he might be over Painter after this year just because of Painter's injury. But Miller's a guy I think they want to stay away from giving. And otherwise, those 2, I think you can make like you could trade away the other guys, but I don't know if they really want to trade them away. That's the problem.
How long term is Bowman? Like, how long is he under contract for?
I think Bohm has 2 or 3 years. I think it's
Oh,
3.
okay. So he's still pretty much like you still have him under team control for a while.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So you know what? You know what? The Phillies are in a position where they can probably make a move without necessarily mortgaging the future, but if the right player comes available, I mean, why not? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I honestly don't know if they're going to give up some of the top prospects. I feel like they're leaning towards not and wanting to keep them. Maybe if another trade becomes available or something happens, you got Castellanos getting old, Schwarber's getting old, Remuto's getting old, and their guys are just getting older, and Stott struggles to hit lefties sometimes. So is he a future platoon bat?
That song bothers me so much. It does. Like I can't listen to it. It drives me crazy. It's like when I was a kid, Chipper Jones used to come up to Crazy Train by Ozzy Osbourne, and I just remember hating that song. Chase Utley had a song too. I think it was a Led Zeppelin song that he used to come out to, and I just remember hearing it. I'm like, I hate this. Bryson Stott's that same way with me. Like it's just like I can't listen to this darn song all the time. It drives me insane.
Yeah, he got really popular after he hit that grand
Uh,
slam against the
oh yeah,
Marlins.
I never can't
um,
forget that one.
yeah, but he
Fun
might have
fact
to
though
change
about
it.
Nick Castellanos, Nick. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Hmm.
Fun fact about Nick Castellanos: he once gave Logan a baseball.
Really?
That is true. True story. First game ever, Melissa and I ever took Logan to was Mets Phillies in Citi Field a couple years ago. We just so happened to be in right field. Nick Castellanos is warming up. Ball comes out. Logan puts his glove out, throws it right to him. Coolest thing. So, 2 guys on the Phillies I'll root for all the time: Nick Castellanos, obviously, and Bryce Harper for a multitude of reasons. All right, you ready to talk some football, kid?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so we're going to kick off our previews of the NFL. We're going to start with the AFC East. Okay, so we're going to kind of go around the horn. We're going to do more or less, we're going to take each division. We'll obviously start with the AFC and work our way through north, south, east, west. And then we're going to do the same thing kind of in reverse order for the NFC because we want to conclude with the NFC East, obviously, because of the Eagles and the Giants. So we're going to get going here. The first thing I want to bring up to you is obviously the team I think is going to win the AFC East, and that's the Jets. I really think they have one of the best, if not the best, young roster in football. Obviously, minus Rodgers, who's obviously a little longer in the tooth. But there's something about that team from a roster standpoint that is outstanding. The only thing that scares me about the Jets is the coach. I don't like the coach. I don't think the coach is very good. I don't think he has control of the players. And I think he makes very bad in-game decisions. So they're going to have to, unfortunately, win despite of him. But Aaron Rodgers is just so talented with his brain now because, with all the years, gone by and still has the ability to put the ball wherever he wants to put the ball. And to kind of bring it all full circle from like a fantasy standpoint, I think Garrett Wilson is the number one receiver in all fantasy football this year. I really, truly believe that in my heart, to the point where, like, if I had a choice to pick him in the first round, I would.
Yeah, I would exactly agree with everything you said. I think the Jets win the division. I think Aaron Rodgers has a really good year. I would put it MVP candidate. I think with Garrett Wilson, they're going to be unbelievable. Garrett Wilson's probably going to be one of the best receivers out there this year. I mean, he should just keep getting the ball. He gets open, he gets the ball. It's simple as that. I think the Jets are going to be really good.
I do too. And you know what? You hear the Davante Adams chatter. Okay, that's great. You're going to get, even if Davante Adams eventually kind of gets there, that's fine. I almost think it's almost a detriment to them if they do that, to be honest with you, because I think Garrett Wilson, because he's so young and so talented, I want to feature him. I want to make sure that he's the guy getting the ball long term. If you bring Davante Adams in, it's almost like you have to trade Garrett Wilson, and I'm not doing that. I'm sorry, like I'm not going to take a guy who right now is, in my opinion, probably in the top maybe 4 or 5 receivers in football right now. I mean, you got to put Chase ahead of him, Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, and Devontae, I would put there right now. But again, for his age, what's he, 23 years old, 24 years old? He's in that
young.
ilk. Yeah, he's young. He's really young. And this is now his 3rd year in the league. Dude, the sky's the limit for this kid.
Yeah. I mean, if they got Davante Adams, I would be excited to see it. I think that would be a great offense. But Wilson should remain number one throughout whoever they get. Adams, if you got him, he'd be more of a guy, another receiver to rely on in the playoffs. It'll get you farther. But otherwise, if they stick with what they have, they should be perfectly fine still. I don't think he switches the win total for anything. Maybe in the playoffs it gets you farther, but regular season, I think it would stay the same.
I think the high side for the Jets is that I think they can get all the way to the AFC title game. I really truly believe that. I think they're that talented and that good that they can challenge. It wouldn't shock me if I saw, say, a Bengals Jets divisional round matchup. It wouldn't shock me at all. And I think the Jets, depending on where the game is played, I think the Jets have a real shot there. What's your feeling on Miami?
Miami, I know they still have to pay Tua, so that's there. I don't know what they're going to pay him before the season, during, after, whatever. But I think they take a little fall down from last year. They were really good last year to start the season. They fell off. But you still got Tyreek Hill. You still have Waddle. You still have Mostert. But I think the defense got worse, and that's the problem. Especially in the division, you're still playing the Bills. They still have Josh Allen. You got the Jets now, Rodgers, Wilson. So I think they take a step down. I think they're an 8-9 win team, really borderline wildcard team. I don't see them doing much, really.
I think they're going to play every game to the 40s. I think that they're probably going to be the best fantasy football offense out there. So, I mean, if you're going to draft a Tua or a Tyreek or a Waddle or a Mostert, I think you're going to get the most out of them. I agree with you 100%. I don't think their defense is good at all. I think they stink, to be completely honest with you.
They
I think
also
every game,
lost Vic Fangio.
yeah. And I think that they're going to play every single game in the 30s and the 40s. Like, it'll be fun to watch, but they're going to lose a lot of games 41-38. They're going to lose some games that are 38-35. I don't think the defense can keep up with the offense. And I think they're probably a little less of a, I think they're more of a 7-win team than they are an 8-9-win team. I really do. I think that kind of brings me to my point about the Bills. I think the Bills are falling off. Like, I think that they know that they need to kind of retool this team. And I think this is kind of their, I don't want to call it a throwaway year, but I think this is like their regroup year. Okay. They trade Stephon Diggs in the offseason. Okay. Who is their number one receiver? Dalton Kincaid.
I think it's going to be a Florida State guy they just drafted,
Okay.
Keon Coleman.
Okay. So you have Coleman and you have Kincaid. Where else is the offense?
They really don't got much. You got
No.
what's his name? Cook.
Yeah, James
his
Cook.
first name. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But otherwise, Kincaid, Coleman, him, with
Not
Allen,
much.
I think they're going to be decent, but they're not going to go far in the playoffs. I don't think.
I don't even think they're making the playoffs. I think that the Bills, I think their high watermark this year is 6 wins. I don't think they're gonna. I do. I think this is the year that the Bills kind of reset. You know what I'm saying? Their defense, they let Poyer go. They still got to pay guys on that defense. I think it's gonna drive me nuts. I'll remember it. But I know there's a guy on that defense they got to pay, and they haven't paid him yet. You still like their secondary is a major issue. It's really bad. And, I don't think they can get to the quarterback. So they're one of these teams where, like, if you want to get your pound of flesh on Buffalo, like they've been doing to you the last couple of years, this is the year you're going to do. I really do. And from a fantasy standpoint, I'm staying far away from Josh Allen. I am. I don't think this is the year for him to kind of take that next step into like fantasy tier of, okay, well, I can win a championship with this guy. You're not going to, okay, because he doesn't have weapons around him. The only guy, and listen, Coleman, if he hits, is a good thing. They're going to double Dalton Kincaid early, and they're going to kind of make him more or less go to these other guys that they don't really know that are going to have to either step up or, they're not going to win a lot of football games.
Yeah, I
And
think keep going.
no, go.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think the Bills are always really hard to predict a win total. They're a team that a lot of people previous season put them at 12, 13, 14, and they're a tough regular season team. And they always win 11, 10. But I think this year it's gonna show, and they're gonna win few games, but the losses are going to start piling up if you really consider it. And Josh Allen, he's not always consistent. That's the biggest thing. And, he gets his games where he gets interceptions. So you got to just throw those games out. I mean, those are just going to be automatic losses now that your defense is bad and you don't have the same weapons that you do.
Now, memory serves me correct. They won the division last year, Buffalo, right?
Yeah, they did because
Okay.
Dolphins were the 6th seed.
Right. So hear me out. Buffalo now has to play a first place schedule. So that means they got to play the Chiefs. That means they're going to have to play Houston,
Ravens.
right? Houston won the division last year.
Ravens, Houston.
Yeah,
and
Houston, Baltimore. Yeah, I mean, dude, no. This is their year to kind of reset, retool, reevaluate, make some decisions, and then try to build it back up again through the draft. This is my opinion. That brings me to the Patriots. They stink.
I think they're gonna probably have a top 3 pick easily again, maybe 1 or 2. They're gonna start Jacoby Brissett probably.
That's crazy to me. Well, then why draft Drake May if you're going to start Jacoby Brissett? That doesn't make sense.
I think a lot of teams are starting to take what the Chiefs did with Mahomes, and that's just been the thing now. But I don't know if that's the way to go always.
All right. So there's 2 schools of thought with this, right? There's the Mahomes model where you're going to sit him out a year, but you had a guy in Alex Smith that was actually a capable guy who can win football games. Okay. You had him as the guy as like the bridge. Okay. very similar to what the Giants did with Eli Manning. Now, the Giants had Kurt Warner. They played him for half a season. They were actually in a decent position, which, if memory serves me correct, they were either 5-3 or 6-2 when they pulled the plug on Kurt Warner. And I remember the team was upset because, you know what, they had a chance to really win. And they decided, okay, it's time to go to Eli. And eventually it worked out, obviously, because in my opinion, Eli Manning is the greatest quarterback the Giants ever had. So you have that philosophy. You have then the Mahomes philosophy of, okay, a competent guy like Alex Smith, who won games for you that allowed Mahomes to mature for a year. Okay. And then once Mahomes stepped in, we've all seen what Mahomes has done in the last, 6, 7 years. Okay. You've seen it both ways. Peyton Manning started day one. Troy Aikman started day one. Okay. They're in the Hall of Fame. All right. A guy like Carson Palmer didn't start day one. They sat him a year. Okay. John Kitna was the starter for about a year. And then they brought Palmer in, and Palmer had a good career. My philosophy is this: if you're drafting a guy with either a top pick, 1, 2, 5, whatever it is, if he, like a guy like J.J. McCarthy, or a guy like Caleb Williams, or Jaden Daniels, we're playing right away. Especially in today's NFL, like your starter day one.
Yeah, I think it's for me if you have a capable guy that can play first. Because you've seen the 2016, the Eagles and the Rams, Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, they played day one because they didn't have
Yes.
anyone else
Right.
veteran that they can put out there. So I think, I don't think they should start Jacoby Brissett over Drake May at all.
No, I agree. If you had to your point, Nick, and I think you're spot on with this, if you had a guy that could win you games, like a Gardner Minshew, okay, like he's kind of the bridge guy,
I
right?
think he's a perfect example.
Yeah, so like Gardner Minshew, if he's on your team, you start him over your rookie quarterback. I'm on board with that because I'm going to be honest with you. If Richardson doesn't get hurt last year, right, Gardner Minshew kind of showed you what he can do. And even with the Eagles the year before, when Hurts was down a couple of games, he didn't do terrible. He wasn't bad.
Yeah, exactly. So Richardson started day one. He was doing really
Yes.
good. I had him in fantasy. He had
So did
really
I.
good 4 weeks.
Me too. I had him
And
too.
then you saw Minshew. He went in and he almost led them to the playoffs.
Yeah,
So if
yeah,
you
he was
have
pretty
someone
close.
like that, then yeah, they can easily play.
Yeah, again, it kind of goes on philosophy. But listen, getting back to New England, it's cyclical, right? Like it's they were so good for so long. It's time for them to have like a 3 or 4 year, like, okay, I need to reset, retool, and kind of restructure this thing. Okay. And you know what? Listen, get your pound of flesh now on the Patriots because you know what? They'll be back. It might take them a couple of years, but they're one of those franchises that, they might be down 2, 3 years or whatever. They'll be back. They're not going to be one of those teams that's just going to, kind of just go off to the wayside after the 20-year run of dominance. It's not going to happen. They'll be back. So, all right, to recap, we both kind of have the Jets winning the division. We both kind of think Miami and Buffalo will kind of fall off a little bit, and we both agree that New England stinks.
About right, yep.
Yeah, I think that sums it up right there. All right, so when we come back on Tuesday, we'll go. What division you want to do? I'll give you your pick.
We can do the AFC North.
Good, I like that because you know what? That's going to be. There's a lot of meat there to kind of discuss, especially
Definitely.
with quarterbacks and teams and everything. Good call. I like that. All right, dude. I will see you on Tuesday. Enjoy your weekend. Who the Phils got this weekend?
I actually don't know.
Okay, because we got the Braves, and that's going to
Really?
be that's
Let
that's
me
yeah that's
actually check.
yeah.
I'll check right now.
Did you see Dylan Cease throw a no hitter today?
I did see that.
Yeah,
Oh, they have the Guardians this week.
that's a tough series.
It is.
Yeah,
They're at
that's a
home
tough
though,
series.
so and then they have the
Nah.
Yankees after.
Yes, because I think the Tuesday TBS game is the Phillies and Yankees. So, and listen, the Yankees stink. That's another thing about Aaron. Let me just get this off my chest right now before I let you go. Okay, you know how I feel about Aaron Judge. That just proved to me yet again you are not going to win with this guy. Okay, like I'm sorry, you're not going to win with this guy at all. And I thought Pedro Martinez brought the best point that I've heard about Judge for a long time. The Mets wrote the book. Okay, they gave you the formula of how to play the Yankees now. You don't let Judge hit at all, at all. And I didn't agree with them pitching to him when they did. You walked him 4 times in the game. The 5th time with a runner on first, and he's the winning run you're going to pitch to him. Thankfully, it worked. But to Pedro's point, and I think he's spot on this, they frustrated. They kind of got in his head. They kind of were playing a little mind games with him. And then finally, when they decided, okay, we're going to pitch to you, he wasn't ready. He wasn't mentally ready for that at bat. And it showed because Diekman struck him out on a fastball looking. Okay. The best player in the world, Aaron Judge. Oh my gosh, 37 home runs. He struck out looking. Okay. In the 9th inning, when it mattered the most, he wasn't there for you. So I'm off my soapbox.
Yeah, that exactly sums it up. He's just I don't know if he could ever lead them to World Series,
No,
honestly. I think
he's not
Soto's the guy that could
I
bring
don't
a
think
team.
Soto's staying. I
I
don't.
don't think he is either.
Yeah, I don't think I
He
think he's
said
gone, man. Yeah.
he also said the other day that it can't be only 2 guys. He was talking about the Yankees overall.
Yeah.
He was saying that Soto and Judge are the only guys that actually are playing good and helping the team out. And I think right there that just showed he's gone.
Nick, the lineup they put out the other day against the Mets was and I get it, it's out of necessity because they really don't have anything else. There's guys I'd never heard of. I didn't know who Jahmai Jones was.
Didn't he lead
I'm
off?
being, yeah, he led off, and I'm like, I don't know who this guy is. You know, JD Davis was a Met reject. You got him hitting cleanup. Come on, man, what are you doing? Ben Rice is a better player than him because he's a lefty. You're going to have JD Davis of all people in there. Yeah, good luck. That's why you lost.
Yeah, that's just desperation.
Yeah, I agree. All right, dude. I will talk to you on Tuesday. We will talk about the AFC North. We'll be in touch.
Oh, yep, sounds good.
All right.
Set adrift on memory bliss of you.
Welcome back on the All Around. People my age know this music. And for you youngins out there to listen to the show, do yourselves a favor. Start listening to some of the music that was back in the day. It's pretty good. PM Dawn. Who had that on the bingo card? All right, we're going to give you a little peek behind the curtain here, okay? I'm taping this at 9:55 on Thursday night. So the Met game just ended. And it just ended in like dramatic fashion. By the way, I wish I had the recorder on because I was sitting in here watching the game and I wish I had turned on the camera and I didn't. But McNeil's up, hits a ball off the bat. I'm thinking it's gone. So I'm like, oh, it's gone. And then I'm like, all right, I'm seeing the guy go under and I'm like, it's caught and go to the 11th inning. And then all of a sudden it's on the ground. They win the game. In like a span of like 5 seconds, I went from like here to here to here again. It's getting crazy. I'll tell you, Jeff McNeil. Happy Jeff. We all love Happy Jeff. We do. Or at least I do. Hey, listen. Keep Happy Jeff alive. Keep going. I'm happy about it. Unbelievable. All right. Let's switch gears here. All right. So I want to give credit where credit is due. My wife actually came up with this topic, and I want to give her the credit she deserves for this. So, Melissa, I love you, and I think this was a great idea to kind of approach towards the end of the show. And that is, as parents, what sport do we really think our children should be playing? Now, Melissa and I kind of have this philosophy of we want our children to kind of try everything and kind of come to, what they feel is their best sport or something that they love, and then kind of figure it out from there. One of the best things about, the way Melissa and I parent is we don't force sports on our children. We're thankful enough that they kind of share a lot of the same interests as we do, and we kind of allow them to kind of flourish by themselves. And, it just so happens that obviously, Melissa and I both played sports. So we, kind of have that, that background of doing things, and our children kind of gravitate to that. But one of the things that I think Melissa and I both kind of really, I guess, stressed in this whole kind of process of kind of watching our kids grow, develop, and become, athletes is just kind of allowing them to get there on their own. And by saying that is by just kind of allowing them to kind of just try everything, do everything, and not just kind of be bogged down to one sport and just say, okay, this is what you're doing no matter what. And that's it. Our older two, they're both in, one's ready to go in high school and the other is going to be a junior in high school. And they both played, and they play more or less kind of like seasonal sports, and some of the things they do 12 months out of the year, because now I think at this age, I feel like in order to kind of stay at the level I feel that they're going to have to do those things 12 months out of the year. I don't necessarily think at a young age that's the case, but I mean, everybody has their own different philosophy. I'm just telling you what our philosophy is. And watching kind of how we, I guess, kind of navigated, the whole youth sports scene, and how we've, we allowed our kids to kind of do the things that they wanted to do, and allowed them to kind of, more or less just kind of take those things to completion, and not, just not just throw things by the wayside just because maybe you're not feeling it one day or you don't want to do something. Like, if you're going to start something, finish it. And I feel very strongly about that. Now, again, that's our opinion. That can't be your opinion or anybody else's opinion. I'm just telling you how, we navigated those things. And I think eventually at some point, if this is something that your children want to kind of stick with, then they'll kind of tell you, not necessarily like you telling them. And I think that's important. And it's just like anything else. Communication is key, and being able to have that open line of communication, whether it's sometimes difficult or sometimes easy, to just say, okay, we notice that you don't necessarily enjoy being here, but let's finish and just figure that out. And then from there, let's move on to something else that maybe you enjoy. And everybody kind of has their own niche, and you'll kind of find that as you go. Don't be afraid to try new things. Don't be afraid to try, different things, different teams, different sports. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, what's best for our children is what we're going to do, and whatever that is. And it doesn't matter what that is. And I've been thankful enough and fortunate enough that I've been around a lot of great people, a lot of great parents, a lot of great kids. And, in my experiences coaching, I've never really had a child that didn't want to be there. And even the ones that maybe at times you kind of have to guide or kind of push into a different direction, I feel we got the best, out of everybody. And I think as a coach, that's the goal, and it's nice sometimes when you kind of see certain kids kind of flourish in other places. May not be necessarily what you were trying to teach them, but maybe just seeing them kind of prosper in other ways just by trying to give them the core values that I feel like sports really kind of gives you. I owe everything in my life to playing sports. And that's the God's honest truth. I've learned so much from success, failure, how to, navigate different personalities and relationships, being able to work as a team, being able to think on your own, being able to lead when it's time to lead, and be able to just kind of share your voice and not be afraid to share your voice. Those are the things that I've learned through my life through sports. And I wouldn't be sitting here doing this podcast. I wouldn't be in the career that I'm in now. I wouldn't be doing the things that I'm doing with my wife if it wasn't for any of that. And that's something I don't take necessarily for granted. I've been blessed. I've been thankful. I've been very open about how that all means to me. And I'll continue to do so as the podcast, goes on, and how it evolves, and how we take this, to heights I feel it's going to And it's going to be. I really do. I think this is the start of something big. And I don't want to come off as arrogant here, and I don't want to come off as, cocky or anything like that. But I mean, I do have confidence. And I feel like this podcast was meant for me to do something more with it, to kind of share the voice and share experiences that, we've had over the years in youth sports, or just experiences I've had in general with watching sports on TV, things I picked up on, anything. And being able to kind of share that with the world and share it with all of you. That's why when I say the term all around army, that means like camaraderie, team, like we're in this together. We're fighting for the same goal. And I love that about doing this. I love being able to kind of share this platform with all of you. I love being able to just really talk about the things that I've always wanted to talk about and never really had the platform or the voice to do so. And now that we do, and we've established this thing, now that we're, I think, 8 episodes deep into it, I think we're going to kind of get more and more as the days, the weeks, the episodes go by. We're going to talk about, the sometimes the mental aspect of playing sports and how that can weigh on a child, and how those things can really be detrimental, if you're not picking up on the warning signs. And at the end of the day, sports is always meant to be fun, but you know what? There is a winning and losing component to it. And I think there's something to be learned from that. I think that you can learn a lot by having that competition and striving to be something. Whether it's just, it can be something silly. Like you can be playing, like, my kids and I, we love to play darts. Like we're big, like we just love playing darts. And, it gets competitive. And that's okay. Because again, you learn by either winning or losing. If it's me and if I'm losing and if I feel like I'm not giving my best effort, I know the next time I'm going to give my best effort. And I'm going to say, okay, well, you got me this time, but you're never going to get me again. That's my mentality. That's how I think. Now, again, that might not be how you think, and that's okay. But in order to be great at anything, it doesn't matter what it is. If it's podcasting, if it's becoming a doctor, if it's, wanting to be a professional athlete or anything like that, you need to be able to outwork everybody, put the work in, not be afraid to take chances, and always believe in yourself. If you do those things, I feel like in life, you're going to be successful. And I'm living proof. I feel like I'm a success story. I feel like that because of the trials and tribulations that I've been through and things that I've seen and done and what have you, I've come out on the other side of it now bigger, stronger than ever. And not being afraid to share my voice. And I think that's key. Don't ever be afraid to share your voice. Your voice matters. Your voice is important. And it'll always be important to the All Around Sports Podcast. So let's leave it at there. All right, let's talk about our sponsors one more time. Here we go. Jump Shot Gym, a one-of-a-kind training basketball facility located in beautiful Hillsborough, New Jersey. 8 hoops and the Dr. Dish shooting machines. They're beautiful. Check them out on Instagram. Get the reps you need to build a consistent jump shot. Visit jumpshotgym.com for info on shooting clinics, camps, and parties. One more time, jumpshotgym.com. Brazino Home Improvements. If you're looking for any contractor repair need for your home and your business, contact Brazino Home Improvements for a free estimate at 609-581-5848. Once again, 609-581-5848. They're great people. Please check them out. And again, if you want to sponsor anything on the show, you want to advertise with me, please check me out at jm14productions@gmail.com. Once again, jm14productions@gmail.com. Also, follow us on Instagram at jm14 all around pod. That is jm14 all around pod. Tell your friends, tell everybody, tell your mailman, tell your neighbor, tell the person you're next to when you're at a red light, tell whoever you need to tell. tell about the All Around Sports Podcast. We're here and we're here to stay, baby. Want to thank Nick Rosselli one more time, my co-host. Had some really cool stuff we talked about at length. And even Nick and I said at the end, we were like, that's probably the best segment we've ever done so far. And you know what? The best is yet to come. As we always say here, the best is yet to come. All right, guys, everybody have a great weekend. Let's go Mets as always, and we'll see everybody early next week. See you.